Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I am Sarah of Sarah's Prismatic Musings, and I am excited to tell you all that I have lost 35 pounds. I'm going to post a picture right here or over me right at this moment showing what I look like back in 2021, like the end of 2021, and I'm then going to post a picture of like a screenshot from a few months ago, like probably 3-4 months ago. It's gonna show like how puffy my face was, how much inflammation was going on in my body. When I look at photos even from a few months ago, even though I'd lost 20 pounds on my own, from when we left Phoenix to up to like 3 months ago, I was able to lose 20 pounds by not going to Dutch Bros or Starbucks or Black Rock coffee a couple times a week. I was going, and those coffees are so sugary. There's so much sugar, so bad for you. And people would always bring donuts every Friday at work, and I am just really ashamed of myself at how much weight I allowed myself to gain. Now, since my late 20s, that's when my weight slowly started creeping up. But it wasn't until like my early 30s that I discovered I had Hashimoto's, which had probably been going on for a while. I would like gain weight and I wouldn't be able to lose it. But then, because I think I was almost having kind of like bursts of my thyroid acting and maybe overreacting, because when I was like 24, I was not like super heavy, but I weighed like 125, and I got really sick, and in 2 weeks I lost the 25 pounds and was super skinny. I really couldn't eat. I don't really remember eating too much other than drinking. I drank a lot of, what is that? It's like one of my favorite drinks. I love it. Kombucha. I drank a lot of kombucha and ate a lot of avocados, and really that's all I remember eating. I remember I ate at a vegan restaurant, because this was when I moved to LA, and I ate at a vegan restaurant a couple times. I really love that place. And then I got Chinese food or some kind of like Asian food from somewhere, and I got food poisoning. So that really didn't help me want to eat either. But anyway, my point is that usually I've never had to lose really more than like 20, maybe 30 pounds. And this time I'm only halfway through. I've lost 35 pounds and I have 35 more pounds to go. And I'm super excited, and I really want to thank my friend Cindy. She's amazing. Not only is she an amazing artist and author and just amazing human being, she's such an inspiration, but she has a channel which I'll link above. It's called Low Carb or Die It, and it's about her journey on going low carb and cutting out sugar and carbs, doing the keto diet, keeping her pre-diabetes under control. Now, like I think 3 or 4 years ago, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and I really hid my head in the sand. I didn't want to face that. But when I started keto a few months ago, I think it was about 3 months ago, I lost 10 pounds right away, and then I kind of hit a brick wall. I couldn't lose more, but I lost another 5 pounds while doing acupuncture. And I switched from keto because really with the inflammation in my body, I did the elimination diet per my doctor. The acupuncturist I was seeing is a traditional Chinese doctor, and she had me go on the elimination diet. So I cut out dairy, gluten, garlic, onions, peppers, So it was weird because at first I was thinking in my mind, I can't have corn, I can't have potatoes, I can't have, so it really made like what I could eat really, really limited. It was basically meat and vegetables and some fruit. Now, because I was trying to stay on the keto, I just am aware of what fruits are okay for me to eat that won't spike my blood sugar too much, because unfortunately, even though it's natural, fruits can spike your blood sugar, and if you're pre-diabetic, you don't want those spikes, and also that's what makes you hungry. And I really, 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 really don't want to be in the pre-diabetic range. So when I got my blood work done, when I started working with acupuncturist, I had already been doing keto for like a month or two, and I got my blood work back and I was at borderline pre-diabetic. So I'm so happy with the keto diet. And I'm just trying to watch the carbs I eat. I was doing really, really well until we went to Los Angeles for my mother-in-law's 70th birthday party, and it was so much fun. But I ate, up until the party, like I ate gluten-free and was eating clean. We went to a vegan restaurant and I had been craving mac and cheese, and I knew I couldn't have it, and it was amazing. So I got this vegan gluten-free mac and cheese, and it was delicious. Let me see if I can pull up the name of the place. Okay, it was called Sun Cafe, and it was in the Valley. And oh my gosh, here is a picture of the mac and cheese, and I'm gonna read the description to you guys. It was so good. It's gluten-free, quinoa, pasta and tomato and cashew mac sauce, baked in a cast iron skillet. So good. And then we bought a vegan chocolate chip cookie, and I just absolutely loved all the vegan options and gluten-free options in Los Angeles. I wish that LA wasn't so polluted, crowded, expensive, because I would love to be able to go out to eat at one of these restaurants and have amazing food. But it's okay, we have been cooking, and I am so blessed that my husband is very supportive of this diet, and he's on it with me. Not as extreme, but he's still, very supportive, and he plans on eventually joining me on the side. We stopped buying salsa because obviously I can't have salsa. I've been making homemade pasta sauce. We found a really good gluten-free pasta that I can have and that we enjoy, so that's cool. Like finding all of these alternatives. I have to say, gluten-free bread isn't affordable. It's not really an option. We bought one loaf of gluten-free bread, and because I was craving Hawaiian sweet rolls, and we bought this Hawaiian sweet bread gluten-free, but they added a lot of sugar, and it's really not that good. Like the consistency, I wasn't impressed. Not for like, I think it was like $8.99 for this loaf of bread, and it was just okay. I'd rather just eat rice cakes. Honestly, it's so funny. Like 20 years ago, when my sister found out she was lactose intolerant, she kind of went on a whole health food kick and was like eating rice cakes, and of course everything had to be dairy free. I remember having one of her rice cakes and being like, oh, this tastes like styrofoam. And honestly, you guys, I hadn't had any carbs other than vegetables for like, I think I did that, like no carbs for like 2 weeks or so. And let me tell you, when I took a bite of a rice cake, I was in heaven. It tasted so good. So that's the other thing that's really cool, is my taste buds are totally different. I'm very like sensitive. Like everything tastes too sweet. If you start reading labels of food, you are going to see the amount of added sugar is disgusting. I love shopping at Trader Joe's, but there's really not much at Trader Joe's I can purchase because there's so much added sugar, and pretty much everything has like added garlic in it. I can't buy store-bought pasta sauce because it has garlic and onion and like everything, and I can't eat those. And so I just blend up diced tomatoes and tomato paste and some water and put all the spices that I can have in it, and then, you know, heat it up. So I make my own pasta sauce now, which it's easy peasy. It's not really any more work than opening a can of tomato sauce and heating it up. And I know what's going in it. Reading labels, I'm just really shocked. And I've been watching all of these videos about reversing prediabetes and the keto diet and the different types. There's like dirty keto, there's clean keto. And of course it makes it more difficult for me because I can't have cheese and dairy. So, you know, that really limits my keto options. But I have to say, like, I love how I'm not puffy. Like, my eyes aren't puffy anymore. My face isn't puffy. I feel a lot healthier. You know, I know I'll feel even better when I drop the next 10 pounds. My husband and I are fasting now, like 1 day a week. But eventually I want to do intermittent fasting where we don't eat our first meal until noon, and we eat our last meal at 6, and then we don't eat anything after or in between. That is the workup. Not only like learning so much about our food industry is crazy. The way that like chicken and ham are processed, like chicken gets a shot of chlorine. White bread, or, you know, sliced bread in America has like a substance in it that is used in yoga mats. Like, why are we putting plastics in our food? And just hearing about the way the food industry, it's all about preserving the food and keeping it fresh longer to save companies' bottom line. They have less waste. But what is that doing to our health? That's my question. You know, growing up in Vermont, there was a lot of farm-to-table restaurants. Everything was, you know, grown locally, local farms, in season, and the chefs would prepare what was local. And I grew up like that, and I grew up with parents who, they didn't shop at, you know, the co-ops or like say Whole Foods or anything like that, but they bought fresh fruits, and they had their own garden, and we had apple trees and pear trees. So we ate a lot of food that we grew, and it just tastes so different. It's better. In California, we walked through this amazing farmers market in Santa Monica, and they had so many fresh fruits and veggies, and I was like, oh man, I wish this was available in Arizona. Unfortunately, where we live in Arizona, basically they can grow pecans, pistachios, grapes for wine, and, you know, they do grow corn. We just picked up some corn, but with corn, I need to be careful, really limit my corn, because again, that's a vegetable that could potentially spike my sugar. But we got a treat, like I like local produce, so we picked up some local corn recently. But just how our food is processed is really disheartening, and it makes me want to like just shake everyone and be like, why aren't we as the American public demanding healthy food regulations? Why are we allowing these companies to put all these additives and dyes and chemicals in our food? Now, I don't know, the food I can eat, like meat, like chicken and beef, has to be like organic and grass-fed. I don't know. I'm sure it's processed the same way. So, you know, I don't know. It's really frustrating that our bill went from like $100 every 2 weeks to $200 every 2 weeks. It's crazy that it's doubled so much just to eat fresh, healthy, whole foods. It shouldn't cost us more to eat real foods. We are finishing up watching X-Files, and we're on the last 2 seasons. And in the like, I think it was the first episode of season, was it 9 or 10? I don't remember, you guys, how many seasons. We've been watching X-Files for like a year and a half trying to get through it all, and I think it was Mulder saying that the powers that be want Americans just consuming and keep us fat and unhealthy, because it all, you know, plays into, if we're consuming, we're not out demanding, we're not fighting for our rights, we're not acting as adults, we're not acting as self-actualized human beings demanding our rights. You know, there's a part of me that's like, oh, I would love to be able to move to Europe, and so I could eat foods and not just bulk up like this. I wouldn't have the autoimmune response that I have. I mean, I still may have it, but I don't think it would be as bad. You just hear about people moving to Europe or just being in Europe, and they drop like 5-10 pounds like that. I'm not sure how the food is in South America or Central America, but I'm sure it's going to be a whole heck of a lot safer than it is here. I kind of got upset about that, and then I was doing research. It was saying, you know, I'm also anemic, so I was like, well, I eat a ton of spinach salads, and I make these spinach milkshakes, and this one guy has this philosophy that tannins in food block the absorption of iron in vegetarian foods like spinach if you don't eat meat. But I do eat meat, so, but I got really stuck on that, because I'm like, usually when I make a salad, it's spinach with almonds and pecans and pistachios and, like, say chicken or turkey, and then blueberries, and topped with olive oil or balsamic vinegar. Well, olives and olive oil have tannins, blueberries have tannins, and I'm like, is that why my body's not absorbing the iron from the spinach? I got really overwhelmed, but you know what? You can't get caught up in the details, because I'm realizing that making these changes, even if there is still all these chemicals and processing, because, you know, rich people who can afford, or people who are mindful and buy organic, well, how do you really keep something organic when you have all these chemicals in our environment? It's going to be contaminated regardless, no matter how hard you try, unless you have a greenhouse. But still, you know, I read this book, I think it's called Under the Sun, or Nothing New Under the Sun. Let me see if I have it on my Kindle. But it talks about this. It's like this Los Angeles company learned how to create water, and the water actually was causing like Alzheimer in patients. And these people, the corporate, it's called Something New Under the Sun by Alexandra Kleeman. And this was the most depressing book I have ever read. And it was not a fun read. It was not an easy read. But anyway, these big wigs who created this water knew what was happening, and they were trying to cover it up. And they were like, well, we're going to run off to Australia or across the world, and we'll be safe. Okay, spoilers if anyone's going to read that book. Skip ahead, because I'm going to tell you what happens. I'm sure y'all know what happens. Is that because it's water, it ended up infecting and affecting the whole world. And these people never even left California before they were afflicted with Alzheimer's. So it's like, yeah, if this should be like a world issue, like we should be holding these companies accountable. But of course we know it comes down to lobbying and money, and these corporations have a lot of money and lobbyists behind them. It's just like with the cigarettes, you know, these companies know that what they're doing is killing the population, but it's hand in hand with big pharma and, you know, the medical field, which is not about health. That is just about getting people onto medications and keeping them on medications and keeping people sick. Because yeah, doctors will, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's really annoying, especially when I was trying to get a diagnosis of my Hashimoto's and just being dismissed and being like, well, you're totally perfectly healthy. All you need to do is lose weight. You're healthy, but you just need to lose weight. Well, I need help losing weight. That's the issue. Like, I remember being in my, late 20s and going to the gym, or even early 30s. And instead of losing weight, I would be gaining weight. And it's because I didn't switch my diet. I didn't have that support. I knew in my early 20s I was supposed to try the elimination diet, and I have tried the elimination diet like so many times previously, and it just wouldn't stick. It does not help that my mother loves to bake and cook and send me cookies. Now I know, like, I could have just given the cookies away to other people, but I love my mom's baking and cooking, but she needs to know that she can't send me any more cookies. It can't be something that she views as her love, because that love could put me in bad health, right? So, no more cookies, no more sugar. My husband had been saying to me, well, you need to, because I had lost the 20 pounds, and then it was like I couldn't seem to like get any more. And then we did the keto and we were fasting, and I lost like 10 pounds like that. And then I hit another wall. But then when I started doing acupuncture, I'm not sure if it was the tea I was drinking or also then doing the elimination diet and kind of combining the elimination and keto together, that I was able to lose the next 5 pounds. I am excited, but at the same time, it's a lot of work, but I know that I feel better, and I know that it's helping me, in the long run. I'd rather, because you can reverse prediabetes. It's a lot harder to maintain blood sugar, if you are you go from pre-diabetic to diabetic. There's so many complications with that, and I just don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. I don't want to be insulin. I don't want to be injecting myself. So I'd rather just not bury my head in the sand anymore and take care of this and live the second half of my life like healthy and happy and vibrant and not in pain and not having aches and pains, right? So it's just a change of perspective. I can still have coffee, like 1 cup of coffee a day. When we were in LA, we went to, I think it was called M Street Cafe. Let me check it out. Yeah, M Street Coffee. And they had macadamia nut milk, and they were like, yeah, there's no sugar added. It's really clean. And I had it in my coffee, and it was so good. So I came home and I bought some, they call it, I think it's like milkadamia or something like that. And it's pretty good. I like the macadamia nut milk because it doesn't add like a weird aftertaste. It doesn't add any sugar or flavoring to the coffee. Like, it just kind of like thickens it up and makes it a little creamy, but not like sweet. So they were right. It's very clean. I tried that and it's delicious. I loved it. And now I'm doing hemp milk, and which that's not bad. Now my husband, he really likes almond milk. That's the milk he likes. I used to do oat milk, but as a doctor pointed out, what are oats used for? Oats are used to fatten up cattle. So I'm like, no more oat milk for me. Before I left my job, I was obsessed with oat milk lattes from Starbucks. And I swear that really probably put on the weight. And it could have been, causing inflammation. I'm not sure if oat isn't like okay to eat on the elimination diet. I kind of feel like it's not. But my point is that yes, I was supposed to do the elimination diet, and now not everyone stays on it forever. I'm just doing it until I lose the weight, and I may like try to reintroduce foods, or if I can do allergy testing to see, but I don't know if I'm actually have any allergies or if it's just a sensitivity, or if it's just, you know, my body's like, I just can't handle it because of the Hashimoto's. So, you know, I don't know if anything would really come back on the allergy tests. Because I feel like I can have some dairy, but when I went on keto and I was eating lots of cheese, my insomnia was like really bad. I was only sleeping for like 2 hours. But doing the acupuncture was good. I did notice that after getting acupuncture, like the first night of getting acupuncture and the next like 2 nights, I slept really well. It would kind of like fade. Now I was supposed to do 6 to 8 sessions of acupuncture, but the acupuncture was intense and it was very expensive. It cost me about $164 to $180 each session, and it was a 3-hour drive round trip, so that's gas. And then at least, you know, we could do the grocery shopping and go to Sprouts and Whole Foods, because I found different things in each place. Like Sprouts has like the only pickles that I really like that I can eat that doesn't have garlic added, and I'm like, I was obsessed for a second there with pickles. Like I was literally drinking pickle juice. I couldn't get enough pickles. But yeah, so the first 3 times were okay, but when she put the needle here, like, oh my gosh, excruciating pain. And then like the second time it was like my foot, but it didn't hurt like when she put the needle in. It was like, it didn't start hurting until like 10 minutes till like the end, and you're not supposed to move once you have those needles in you. And I was like, who I don't know what to do. Like, I just breathed and sweated through the pain, because I would ask sometimes, you know, if they could remove a needle, and they'd be like, oh, but that's like the most important one. It means it's working. And oh man, it's just intense, right? And then the 4th visit I went to, it wasn't the doctor, it was a intern, and she's training right now to become an acupuncturist in school, and she is a massage therapist. She does a specific type of Chinese massage. And so she put in all the needles, and I just started shaking. I had this huge release. I was so grateful that it was her that I had this release with, because she ended up taking out all the needles and like let me get up and like move around. I had to like shake it out. She was just a very compassionate person. And I was just so grateful it happened with her and not the doctor. I was afraid she'd be like, if it was the doctor, she'd be like, you've got to keep them in. It means it's working. But I will say that the next visit I went to, and my final visit, she finally used kid needles on me, and it didn't hurt as bad. I still had some discomfort, but it wasn't as, I'm like, why couldn't you have done this from the beginning? I think I might have maybe gone the 1 or 2 more times. But it was just so expensive, and I felt like really what was really helping me was the change in diet and especially cutting out gluten and cutting out dairy. I'm not so sure about the garlic and the peppers. I don't really eat a lot of garlic and peppers normally, but I mean, I guess in a way I do, because I love salsa. There's a gentleman who goes to the swap meets on Fridays, and he makes homemade salsa, and it's so good. I do miss his salsa. That was like kind of like, oh, I'm gonna miss his salsa, but it's okay. Health comes first. For a few bites of something that tastes delicious, I'd rather have my health long term. So acupuncture is just ridiculously expensive. Eating healthy is ridiculously expensive. Trying to live a healthy lifestyle in America is ridiculously expensive. And it's just really disappointing that instead of pushing health, our government wants everyone sick and obese and distracted and just consuming. I noticed right away that my brain fog cleared without eating carbs, or a lot of carbs, because I know that rice still has carbs, but eating one rice cake a day isn't going to put me over, because you're supposed to eat under 50, I think it's grams of carbs on the keto diet. So it's not going to put you over the 50 grams, but you just feel better. You wake up feeling better. There's times where I don't feel like I even need coffee, because I've gone days without even drinking coffee, and I went from drinking a lot of coffee to now some days I skip coffee, or I just have like one small cup, not even a full cup. Like, I gauge that. I think that's a win. It's very empowering to know that you can affect your health by just the way you eat and exercising, walking. Truly, unfortunately, when you have Hashimoto, it's like walking and yoga are like the best things you can do. Maybe some strength training, but you don't want to do extreme cardio or aerobics. It will put your body under stress. And for me, unfortunately, it was causing me to gain weight. So just walking, swimming, yoga, some dancing is okay. Just like getting moving, cutting out all the sugar was a big thing. So yeah, my husband bought some vanilla ice cream and I had a bite and it just tasted disgustingly sweet. It tasted funny. It tasted like chemicals. It didn't even taste like ice cream. I'm like, what is this? There's too much sugar. There's too much additives. Like, my taste buds have totally changed. I don't like a lot of sugar. I feel like I taste food like for what it really is. We had some like gummy bears left over, and I'm like a sucker for gummy candies. And I ate one. It was just like, that tastes disgusting. So I think it's really cool. You're going to go through the withdrawals. You're going to be moody. You're going to feel like super hungry at first. But once you get through that and you get to the other side, you just see how much better you feel and how much better you look. And I wish I could say like we spend less on food, but we don't. We haven't gotten to that point yet. But maybe when we're doing the intermittent fasting and only eating 2 meals a day, maybe our food bill will go down, which would be nice. But yeah, I understand that not everyone's health conscious and people, enjoy their food, but food is medicine. It can either heal you or make you sick. And, I've enjoyed some amazing food, lots of pastries and great foods from my mother, and just pastries in general. And, it's the end of an era, and that's okay. And at any point that you can change your diet or you feel you need to, I recommend definitely, if you need to hire a dietitian or join support groups to do that, or watch YouTube videos, I definitely recommend doing that and just getting started and take it one day at a time. And know that, yeah, there's going to be a week or two in there where you're not going to feel your best and you're not going to be super happy. But wait, just wait. You will get there. And it's really fun to see the pounds coming off. And it's really great to be like, oh yeah, my energy levels are going back up and I'm feeling good again. I'm not feeling like stiff and sore and all of these things. So let me know your experience if you have tried doing any diets or acupuncture. Like, let me know your experiences down below. I would love to hear about your journeys. Yeah, thanks for listening to my musings, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, y'all.